Welcome to Bulletcast, the Bullet Catcher Gaming Podcast. In this episode, we will be discussing the teammate experience, the goods and bads, and maybe some extra. And the guests in this episode are Knuckles, TJ Dusty, known as Sean, Tyrant Slayer 01 as Jeremy, Sandylands 85, Havoc, and me, 8up, known as Marcus. And here's your favorite Vaseline bullet catcher, Andy.
Yeah, God damn it.
That was the lamest.
That was lame.
Horrible.
Lame.
Wow.
Lame.
God.
For anyone that's watching, I was asking if someone could get the word Vaseline in somewhere, and he's gone straight in and got it at the beginning. But he didn't make any
Give
sense.
us a chance.
Yeah. God damn it. Anyway, thank you all of you for joining, and thanks for anyone for watching. We do appreciate it. If you would like to be on the podcast, you can. You just jump into the Discord and you can put your name down on the list and you can jump in. And we'll swap a few people out here and there every week or so. We'll have guests every now and again, stuff like that. So obviously we've had a recent update, so that's what we're going to be discussing. We thought we'd start with the positives first. So let's go with the positives. What about if we just start generally? What did you like about the update? What did you enjoy about it?
Don't all speak at once.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that I think's definitely improved has been how well the AI teammates now work in vehicles. I've noticed a massive jump on how more responsive they are and how much more damage they do now. It actually feels like they do damage.
Do you mean when the AI teammates are in the vehicle firing like the weapons on the actual vehicle? Do you mean when they're shooting from within the vehicle?
Both really. I mean, especially when you've got any of your AI teammates on top cover. So when they get on the minigun now, you know, it doesn't seem like they're taking a lifetime. It's 2 or 3 hits, and then the enemies are dead. I literally chased a convoy 2 days ago, I think it was, and it took out the convoy in a couple of seconds.
Okay, so do you know what? I've heard a few people actually say that they feel that the vehicles are better. I mean, I didn't hear anything about vehicles being tweaked or anything, and I must admit I haven't noticed anything myself. Has anyone else noticed improvement in vehicles?
Somebody
craftily put in?
Somebody said their handling is better.
Yeah, they handle a little better, I think.
Not
The sports cars, though. Those are still electric sliding.
So what, you think they've just altered them on some of the vehicles?
Some of them, yeah. Like the off-roaders or the technicals.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, there were a few little odd bits in there. I mean, obviously, I presume if you go onto the map, everyone noticed the pulsing bivouacs.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yes.
When I first saw it, I was kind of like, okay, what's the point of that? And then but then a lot of people said they really like it.
And then Erewhon is a lot bigger.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Erewhon's bivouac is a lot bigger too.
Yeah.
You mean on the map?
Is it?
Yeah, on the attack map.
Oh, on the map, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Much easier to find. Yeah, it is. 100%. So okay, so we've got that side of things. So what else did anyone else like it? So like Havoc, what did you think of it overall? Let's go round.
I think overall it's an okay update for someone who's using the AI teammates. I think there are some improvements, but for people that are not using the AI teammates, there's not much in this update besides cosmetics and maybe a few weapons or something. I think this is strictly for the players that are using AI teammates, and this is a good one for them. But otherwise, I don't see a big change with this update for someone who is not using the AI teammates.
Okay, that's fair enough. What about you, Dusty?
I'm one of those guys that doesn't typically use AI teammates. I either prefer to play by myself or play with other players. But I would say that definitely just experiencing the AI teammates since this update and obviously before, they actually feel a lot more, I'm trying to think of the word, but I guess maybe tactical. They feel a little more lifelike. There's more conversation I've seen to notice with my character. Feel more fleshed out, I guess. They're not the stereotypical bullet sponges that sit there and wait in front of an enemy and go down, and they're more of a burden than a help.
I must
And
admit, I think they have, when you're like, if you enter a building, for example, and you're already in a firefight, I found them to be much better than they were before. Instead of sometimes just standing around, like they used to sometimes just stand around and get shot. Whereas now I do find that they are much more aware of their surroundings in terms of where enemies are coming from. They've definitely been fine-tuned in terms of their tactical awareness.
Well,
oh yeah,
well, on that, there have been a few times where I send my AI teammates into the middle of the base. Like for one of the challenges was to do something where one of them gets injured. I sent one into the middle of the base, next to 2 heavies and a turret station. Patrols walking back and forth right in front of him. It wasn't until I said cleared hot that they noticed he was there.
What level were you playing on? Elite?
12. And I have the hardest difficulty settings on. So like if I get shot twice, I'm dead. But the AI just walk right into the base. No one notices unless you do cleared hot.
Yeah, that is definite. You do seem to have to clear them hot. They don't seem to like opening up on people, and they don't take people out stealthily or anything unless you tell them to. And this has been brought up by multiple people and multiple YouTubers as well about Ubisoft's statement where they said, don't worry, we've got this covered. You won't have to micromanage your team. And I think that alerted a lot of people were like, hang on a minute. No, we want to micromanage our team.
Right.
Like, we don't want you taking those options away. We want those options. I mean, we're going to get into the negatives of this update afterwards. There's a lot. We've probably got more than we have the positives. So let's just stick with positives for a minute. Well, Marcus, what about you? Have you got any positives on this?
Well, so far that I've seen, as far as the positives, is you don't really have to do anything different. I mean, you just play the game like normal. You know, a lot of people do play either stealthy. You know, you got the single person playing. You know, like we've had a couple named here. You know, Havoc, and I think Knuckles does it. They play by themselves, but I tend to play with the teammates, and I do enjoy that they have the capabilities, but I haven't seen any real difference other than, you know, the combat drone and the scan that they throw out. Now, what I wish we could do is control the scan, because it just pops up when they want to do it.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up in my negatives. That was one of the biggest issues for me, and we'll talk about this in a minute. But yeah, the fact that you can't control when they use their special abilities, to me, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the drone, I don't mind the drone. The only difference is, well, we'll get to that in the negative side of it. But
okay. What about Jeremy? What about you? What did you think of it?
Oh well, let me throw out a disclaimer here. I played probably a grand total of 3 hours with the AI teammates or the entire time that they've been available. So I don't have a whole lot of time on them, but I did notice immediately that I don't have nearly as many problems with them running in front of my line of fire. They don't seem to be blocking me as much as they used to. That's about all I have to say about the teammates. I mean, obviously, I don't.
To be fair, I think most of us, I don't think, probably run with teammates normally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it interesting when you don't run with them, so you're not used to them, and then you use them, how much of a hindrance you believe they are or they are not. So that's why someone like your opinion, that you've barely used them. And to be fair, I've probably only got about 6-7 hours total time with them myself, and that was to do tests for videos and things like that.
Yeah, I've got days.
So I found them to be less annoying. I mean, they're still annoying, but they're less. I did notice some other pluses.
They're less annoying.
You're still annoying, but you're less annoying.
Just less. But I did notice some nice performance improvements on the Xbox platform. Matter of fact, it's pretty noticeable when you go to change the directions when you're running, turning in place, things like that. We're always very, very sluggish. Matter of fact, it's been messing with me all week because I've been accustomed to the sluggishness, and I time things based on that. And now I find myself sliding all over the place because there's actually performance there that wasn't there before.
Right, okay. Well, that's good then. I mean, they did add a lot of bug fixes into the game. Some have appeared to have worked really well, and others have not. The strike designator being one of them. I know that loads of people have had their strike designator missing. Havoc has already said that his strike designator has been missing since about 2 days after the Resistance update. That was right, wasn't it? You've never had it back, have you?
No, I never had it back. I mean, I never cared to have it back, but maybe because I didn't use it and I didn't miss it. That's why. Maybe if I had used it before and had it for a longer time and got used to it, maybe I would miss it, or I would say, okay, Ubisoft, do something about it. But since I didn't use it at all, it was okay for me to not have it.
Yeah,
you're not alone, Havoc. I'm in the same boat as you. About shortly after, I don't know how many days because I don't use it either. But shortly after the end of the
live event,
the live event, I lost mine too. And I noticed that even if you go back through and replay the live event to get all the rewards again, it still doesn't come back up. So, not that I care.
Supposedly the only way is to create either, you can obviously report it to Ubisoft and get them to open a ticket, but even that doesn't always get it back. And obviously to start a brand new character and then play the mission, but you may not want to start a brand new character. You shouldn't have to start a brand new character to get it back. But they told us that was going to be in there, and I know it's worked for some people because I saw it on the YouTube comments, people going, hooray, I've got my strike designator, and then a load of other people have said, yeah, I still haven't got it. So there's been some, I can't speak for too many other bug fixes. I have a few people did say where there were places they fell through the world or they got stuck. They are not getting stuck now, so that's a good thing. So maybe the bug fixes are positive. So as we'll stick on the positives just for a little bit longer. So okay, let's talk about cosmetics, because obviously some of the cosmetics in here were things that people have been asking for ages. The gas mask, ghillie suits, whether it's Russian gear, the Cry top with the rolled up sleeves, things like that, and the weapons, Mark 18, stuff like that. What did you? Let's not discuss the fact that you had to pay for them yet. We'll get to that. What did you think of the cosmetics, the Rainbow Six skins, things like that? Was there anything in there? Did anyone buy any? Did you immediately buy some stuff from the store? Did you go, nah, I'm not paying for it, whatever? What did you like?
Oh, I spent a good 30 quid straight away.
Oh, see, that was about 5 times more than the game costs now.
How much did you spend?
£30. So what's that?
£30. Oh my god.
Maybe about what, $45-50 probably.
Gee.
About $40 would be about £30. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could buy the Ultimate Edition twice for that price.
Really?
That's what I bought. That's what I bought when it released.
So did I.
So did I.
I think we all did.
I did.
Biggest regret right there.
No, I used whatever ghost coins I had remaining and used that to buy what I wanted, and I'm still looking at some of it.
Yeah. So what did people like? Okay, so what was the stuff that really stood out? I liked some of the ghillie suits. I liked, obviously it's cool to put the gas mask on, but it's a shame that you can't I always wanted to be able to put I like one of the skull masks that's in the game. Is it the skull? I wanted to put the skull mask on with a helmet.
Oh, the
And-
balaclava.
Yeah, and it's really annoying. You can't. That really bugs me.
Yeah.
I think
Or you
I
cannot use the helmet with the mask.
No, you still can't do it. No, you can use the specifically. They've given you the gas masks, but you can only use those 3 that they gave you with specific helmets. You can't say buy one of the new gas masks and say, I know I'm going to use it on this helmet that I've had for 6 months, because it won't fit. It will only fit on ones that they have allowed it to fit.
That's retarded.
You know, there's something else with these masks and everything. I think they gave you could buy a ghillie hood at Maria's shop when it came out, and you cannot wear, for example, a balaclava with it, or you cannot wear a mask with it, because it's located in masks instead of heads.
Yeah, it takes up the whole head.
Yeah.
For me,
And-
like coming from Wildlands, that's all I wore was either ghillie suits or something that blended in well with an environment. Then coming to here is like I'm having to build one, and then all I can use is either a beanie or a boonie hat, and it looks like crap. Then they finally add it, and like the free one that you get, the netting, I forget what it's called, but the only top
Cry?
the only top it works with is the Cry shirt.
Yeah.
Anything else, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that they might have been testing this stuff out, ready for a much bigger update in coming in September, October, where I mean, maybe, but
they got the ghillie suits phenomenally. Like they did it great in Wildlands.
they did.
So what? I don't know if they have just a completely different development team that has not even looked at the previous games that they've done, or they just don't care. But I don't see how you go from that level of like
Detail.
Detail,
to this. Like I enjoy it. I'm glad I have ghillie hoods because now it doesn't look jank. It makes sense, Even with the new ghillie suit, they have to get to the Go store. Or like the only other hood I don't have is the one through the crates. But even that, that works. But whenever I did the update, I was wearing the thicker leaf one. I forget what it's called. The thick leaf one. The other ghillie suit went back into Maria's shop. I had to go rebuy a ghillie suit I already had.
Do you know what?
Not only that.
I did that.
Loads of stuff
Loads
that
of
you've
stuff,
bought has gone back into Maria's shop. This is a big issue. No, this has happened to a lot of people.
I don't understand. I was like, if I didn't have it in a preset already like saved, it went right back to the shop.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not on, is it? Really, that's kind of silly. So, well, any other pieces of gear that people liked?
That would be
that-
here.
I mean, I personally like the Mossberg shotgun from the Ghost store. Just it's beautiful color pattern. I like the ghillie on it. I don't really care that it's a kind of sawed off stock, but I also like how they went and taped a karambit to the end of it, which I also wish they would have given us some kind of cool kill animation with that. That would have just been tits. But I think the issue I have with that gun, hate to bring a negative into a positive, is it's a very short shotgun here and somehow holds 8 shells.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
Yes, it holds eight shells.
And if you actually do the math on what a shell size is, it doesn't look like it holds 5.
Nope.
No,
Right.
maybe 3 or 4 max.
Yeah.
Again, that goes back to like who is designing or developing the gun schematics or details.
I'm waiting for Jeremy to jump in and weigh in on this one because we've got our gun extraordinaire right here. So come on, Jeremy, let us know what you think. Did this piss you off?
It didn't piss me off. I actually anticipated it. just because of the lack of depth of knowledge of anything they do with the guns. It didn't surprise me at all.
It's a shame though. I mean, in regards to the guns though, so let's be honest. The Mark 18 is a reskin of the 516. It's almost identical,
Basically.
just with altered statistics. Well, basically lowered statistics. The 516 seems to be higher on most things. I think there's one thing that it's higher on. The rest it's lower. Obviously, you've got what about the Desert Eagle Survival? I actually quite like that. I'm quite enjoying that. Though I do wish you could take do wish you could have taken the suppressor off. But then again, it would have just been a Desert Eagle, I suppose.
I think that's one thing where I think they are teasing us, because now that they've put that red dot on the Desert Eagle, they know fine well that fans are going to want it on everything else.
I was just going to bring that up too.
You think this might be a tease for offering the red dot on all pistols later on down the line?
Yep, I think
it's a good segue into it.
That was a good way to bring it in to see if fans would like it, and I mean, I think it works really well on that.
No, I can see that. Let's talk really briefly about the M4A1 Survival, which is obviously in the Delta loot drop. Now, I do want to discuss the Delta loot drop when we go into negatives, because I do think, obviously, having had some of these codes to give out in competitions and things like that, I have had some shit from people. Not many, to be fair, but a few people. I had a specific, really comment saying today that wasn't particularly nice, but and what I was trying to explain was that, these were given to us and they would have just been given out anyway. That weapon is now going to be available in the store as well. It was always going to be available in the store. So I'm half and half. Yes, I thought it was a fun little thing, but maybe they should have told people right at the beginning, by the way, this is a freebie. I would have probably said, if you're going to do it as a freebie and give it out through a code, you should have been really open right from the beginning and said, this is going to be available from Delta members for the first 4 weeks, and then after 4 weeks, you can buy it. And I think that people would have gone, oh, okay, that's all right. So if I don't win one, I can buy one later on. But the people were held for a week going, oh, great. So if I don't get a code, I'll never have this weapon ever. And it annoyed a lot of people. It did piss people off.
What's wrong with that?
Will it be available?
What's wrong with that?
I mean, that's like playing the beta game too. You can get some stuff in the beta that you can't get in the real game.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Well, my whole point is everybody acts like they want all this stuff for free. And it takes development time. Development time costs money, a lot of money. But beyond that, I don't see why there's an issue. Even if they never put it in the store, why is there an issue with making that an exclusive item? That's what makes it exclusive.
To me, it's no different to the raid items. You know what I mean? Like the Coblin. Some people will never get the Coblin because of the interest in the raid. So I don't personally see what the big issue is.
I find raiding attitudes really odd. Havoc can probably come in and talk a bit more about this, because it is on the same lines. My personal opinion is just like, I get why people don't like the raid, and I think most people do. Like, I think they'll understand, even if you love the raid. Like, if you absolutely love the raid, like Havoc likes the raid, obviously. I quite enjoy the raid, but I also understand why people don't. But you can go and get these weapons. Like, there are ways. There are people like Havoc, for example, and others who will take people through the raid with you. And you just need a good team, and you can get it. They're not impossible to get. These weapons are manageable to get. I mean, what do you think, Havoc? Do you think that the M4A1 should be like, are you okay with super exclusive, or would you prefer them to be, you put them in something and make them a hard challenge and maybe unlock them like that, a bit like the raid?
I think on one side it's a good thing to have exclusive items, but it's good for content creators or for streamers like yourself and others to have the opportunity to give something away to the community or to give something back. This is the positive side of things. The negative side of things, there are many people like some of you guys and many others that are paid a lot of money for the Ultimate Edition or for an edition that has everything in the game. And you still have to buy something extra from the Ubi store or whatever. And I think this is not the good thing, not the right thing to do. But
Do you mind if I bump in real quick?
Yeah.
So I also think what a lot of people are upset about is there are very few Delta members that people actually know about, right? That actually have Discords or even, are willing to give codes away. Like, besides you and I think it's G-Money, right? G-Money, one of them?
A Squad was giving loads away. He was giving lots of them away, yeah.
Okay, so aside from A Squad and you that I know of, there aren't that many that other than that I've seen. They don't allow people to join anymore, or they don't even look at applications. Like I've had people tell me I applied for Delta Company like a year ago, never heard back. So they're doing this exclusive content. At least give warning about it and say, hey, yeah, this is only for these people. But not telling anyone.
Or give away more to the few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to give ours away in a different way. We tried to give ours away in competitions, and I got some stick from a few people over why I was giving them away in competitions and not just giving the codes out for people to go and grab. I thought it was the fairest way because I thought it engages with people, it engages with the update, it gets people playing the game at the same time. Because there are scenarios out there. Let's say, for example, let's take all of us in here, right? Okay, let's say we weren't in this podcast right now. We're just out there playing the game or whatever. We've got nothing to do with YouTube or anything like that. I might only play Breakpoint once every 3 weeks for 20 minutes. Yeah. I could be lucky enough to bag that code, but yet someone else could only play Breakpoint, and they're playing it 5, 6, 7 hours an evening. And I'm not saying you should be rewarded because you play it more necessarily.
Right, they're invested in it.
But if you put out a competition, it levels the playing field because you've got to put the effort into it. I just thought it was the fairest way, and we tried to make interesting. Some interesting ones. The treasure hunt turned out to be really difficult for people. But, Marcus and I tried to make sure it was difficult. And Dusty did it. You thought it was difficult, didn't you, Dusty?
Yeah. Counting a bunch of teeth for 5 fucking hours.
Good. That's what we wanted. Marcus and I went to that location like 3 times and counted those teeth again and again and again, just to make sure that we had them. Because what we didn't want to do is obviously get someone come back and go, you got the teeth number wrong, and we're like, oh shit. Yeah, we didn't want that. So
can I just
got that message a lot.
Go on, have it.
I want to just finish the thing with the Goblin and everything else.
Yes, go for it.
I think it is okay to lock some items behind some challenges. Like no one complained about the stuff that you have to, or that you only can get when you play PvP. They only complained about the Goblin and other stuff that you have to raid for. And I think this is a good thing because you bought the whole game. You bought the raid, you bought the PvP, you bought the AI teammates, you bought everything with this game. And it's okay to have some challenges locked behind some different tasks. No one is complaining about that you have to do AI teammate challenges to unlock some things. Why they complain that you have to do the raid to unlock some things?
I agree with that. I think that's
Well-
I think that's right. But I think the M4 was. I think, like I said, I think if from the beginning they'd said, "Don't worry, this will be available in the store," I don't think you'd have heard any complaints.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
saw-
that's true.
I saw a lot of
poor
people complaining about
communication.
the camos locked behind PvP. I saw a lot of that, but I think the problem with PvP and the raid, comparing those two, is PvP crashed even harder than the raid did. So I don't think there's much
yeah.
interest in it at all.
And they obviously then made all of those PvP components available in the shop, didn't they? Was that the Gollum Island when they opened Gollum? Was that when they added the PvP stuff in?
Yeah.
They added, but not everything. You still had to do some things that you
Yes.
can only get with PvP regardless, and same with the raid, especially with the critical. But the thing is, many people are complaining about the raid, but they never tried it. I have so many people that were afraid of the raid or I didn't want to play it, and I convinced them into play it, and they love it now. They don't play anything else but the raid because they love it and they hate it before it. They didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Well, I do have to say one thing very quickly after that comment. I'm going to say one name to you, and he has been on the podcast before, and he is in the Discord. Mr. Callsign Intervention. He is scared of the raid, and I'm just saying that right now. He's terrified. He hates on the Coblin all the time because he hasn't got it. And I said to him, "We can get you take through the raid, and not a problem." And he just says, "No, it's the principle of it." But I actually think if he played it with a good team and they ran him through it, he'd get to the end of it. He might go, "Do you know what? I don't want to play that ever again." But I do think he would get to the end of it and go, "Do you know what? It was all right. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it."
Most people would do that because the raid is a good thing. I understand if you played the raid and you played it with good players and you got through multiple times and then you say, it's not my thing, I'm gonna stick to doing missions or PvP or whatever. That I can understand and that I can accept. But someone who is negative about the raid and never played a single minute in a raid to complain about it, I don't think this is the right way.
I can say that I have played the raid. I've completed it twice. I've probably played it a lot more, but because of, naturally people either bouncing in or out and taking away from the fun of it, I did happen to get the Coblin when it first came out, when the raid first came out, and I haven't put it down since. But I do get in a raid mood when I want to play it. So I might play it on a weekend and I don't touch the PvE part of it. Now, I can truly say I have tried the PvP part of it and I don't like it. So I'm not saying...
Same for me.
To
I'm not
be
saying...
fair, I think most people hate it.
But at least I did try it. So, but, like I said, with me in the raid, I'll get in a raid mood. I'll be like, who knows, the rest of this weekend with the holiday going on right now, I might jump in the raid now and say, hey, boom, I'm going to play the raid until Monday night. Tuesday, I'll go back to the open world. And then I'll be fine and dandy. And then another month goes by and then I'll get back in the raid. It just depends on my mood for that. I don't mind playing the open world portion of Gollum Island either. I'm just, again, it's a mood thing.
And it's easy when you have someone to show you around and to teach you how to do the raid. And when you have a team, I mean, we finish raids in 25 minutes.
And I have to give you credit there, Havoc. Your team that does do the intel on it, that's on your Discord page or channel, I have to give you guys credit. On Tuesdays when you post your information, boom, you got a whole 7 days to go in there and knock out the raid as many times as you want. I have to give you credit.
Thank you, buddy. This is by the way my team that obtains the intels. We going in first, and we do the raid as quick as we can and find the shortcuts that we can, and then post the intel. So it's me and 3 other players of my server that are doing this, and we post it immediately for the whole community. And of course, we post it on other servers like here on Bullet Catcher or on other servers that we're working with. and it's free for everyone. I mean, we do the work, so you guys can have fun with the raid and not have to focus on, oh, how do I get this, or I don't know where to go. So it takes the fun away. I can understand that.
Yeah,
and that's why we do this.
But I have heard a lot of times people say, "Hey, I just want to go in blind," and I've noticed that in bullet catchers, in raid intel and gaming requests, they'll go in and say, "Hey, let's just go play regular," and however long it takes for them to play it, they're just having fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main thing, and that's the thing about this game. You should be able to play it however you want. We're getting slightly off topic, but is there any other positives before we move on to the dreaded negatives?
Yes, there is.
Go for it.
I think the AI teammates are significantly faster with the sync shots, with the locking on the sync shots. They improved on this side. So when you task them to lock on someone, they are locking it in pretty fast, faster than before, I think.
And even the cooldown period is faster now.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
it does seem quicker, definitely.
Because you can lock on to someone right after they shot someone, and I'm going to say under 30 seconds now that they're ready to shoot on the next target.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's no more positives, anyone else got any more positives? And then we will move on.
I think overall it's another step in the right direction. It could have been better, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
The bug fixes are good.
Yes.
I think the bug fixes are a good thing, and they did a lot of good stuff. I mean, there are still bugs, don't get me wrong, but they fixed a good chunk of the bugs, and I think it's a good thing.
Can someone tell me what bugs they fixed? Because all the ones I've observed that are game breakers for me are still there.
There has been some new ones as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, look, I get a lot of people obviously commenting on YouTube videos saying to me, Bullet, do you know anything about this? Or do you know why my game's doing this and stuff? So I get a lot of people reach out and say, do you know anything about this? Or just to let you know, my game does this. So I get a lot of my information and feedback that I try and pass back from people commenting in YouTube and in the Discord. And I've had a lot of people saying that their games have been crashing, and there's been a lot of people of people saying that they literally cannot play the update. Like they've installed it, they play it for 5 minutes, the game crashes, and it just won't play again. They've uninstalled it, they've reinstalled the game, and they can't get the game to start. And there's been multiple people who have seen that and had that happen, or know people that it's happened to. And yeah, I suppose you are going to get little minor things like that, but it seems like there's quite a lot that have had this issue, and I find that's quite sad in a way, that we're still getting an update come in and it's bringing in a load of new issues.
Well, see, that's the one thing I haven't had yet. I mean, probably since I bought the game, I probably only had like 4 or 5 crashes in 18 months.
Wow, I have that every night.
Lucky.
I know. I mean, it's
I don't
weird.
Have it recently.
It's weird like that because I've been very fortunate. I mean, I've upgraded my internet speed and everything in the process of these 18 months. And like I said, I have only had like maybe 4 or 5 crashes compared to what everyone is saying now.
Yeah, many people.
I'm in a similar boat. I only ever had it crash after, I think it was episode 2. When the Resistance first came out. I've never had an issue since.
Yeah,
you know what? I haven't really had any bugs or crashes or anything for at least 6 months. I can't remember having one. Now, I know some people might say, "Oh, you're in Delta Company, so you're not allowed to say." No, honestly, I would just say, I just don't care. I would say, yes, this happens, that. But I haven't had any. Have I had them previous? Yes, I have. Especially after the Red Patriot update, where I had a whole section of map where it didn't matter where I went, I fell through the world. I just couldn't get rid of it. Every time I went to this, it was in a whole section. It was nearly a quarter of my map. I just walked there. If I landed, I couldn't land a helicopter, just go straight through the world. And then that randomly fixed itself like 2 weeks later. I think I had that for 2 weeks. But we're going to hit negatives now, full on. I know we were getting negatives with the... Go on.
One more thing before we go to negatives. You remember that I gave you footage of the Vulkan API and it had problems.
Yes.
With the Vulkan, yeah. I recently switched from the Intel platform to the AMD Ryzen platform, and since I did that, the Vulkan problems disappear completely. And
so you think it's more to do with that than it is on their end? Because people have asked me about that this week, funnily enough, on PC, and said, "Do you know if they fixed this? Because it's not gone for me." So the changes that you've made has fixed that?
Yeah, I think there is a certain architecture of the CPUs that are not running as good with the Vulkan API as others. So maybe it was my particular chip that was causing trouble, but since I changed to Ryzen, it's running perfectly smooth. No hiccups, no frame drops, nothing at all.
That's good then. Oh, well, there you go then. So hopefully there has been some positives in there, but let's hit these.
I got one more positive, Andy. I got one more positive on that.
For it.
The one positive thing that you didn't even really have to try to do half of the stuff. You just played the game. Next thing I know, I'm doing some of the stuff here, and I'm like, okay, I see the missions. You know, they say, okay, go do this, go do that, go do this. You didn't even have to pick any of them. You just did them, and next thing you know, I'm at a level 11, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even try to do any of this stuff.
Well, let's take from that and lead straight into the negatives off of what you just said, because before we started, we were talking about this. And I know that Knuckles will have something to say on this, so we'll let him go first. So, Knuckles, tell us how much you enjoyed the challenges of the AI teammates, because I know you really enjoyed them.
Prepare your Vaseline.
that worked really well.
That's how you do it, Marcus.
And he suddenly he's gone quiet. He's not there. He's disappeared. Maybe he's muted. He must have. He's gone off and got his Vaseline. And,
so we got a challenge winner.
Yeah, we got a challenge winner.
Yeah,
he missed out there.
Yeah,
okay, well, whilst he's doing what he's doing, I'll come in and then you can come in from that. But I mean, I think we were all discussing this. The challenges were not good, were they? Let's be honest, they weren't good. Like we were really laughing about this before we started. The fact that Dusty, was it you that literally said you could just put a moustache on a character and that's it, you leveled up? I mean, like, come on.
Basically, I think it was Vasily that I put a mustache on and then changed a scope on his rifle, and bam, I'm level 3, and I was like, what the hell is this? That was the easiest thing ever.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy though, isn't it?
I changed the eye color.
It seems like that would have been ideal when the AI teammates released.
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
That's what it feels like to me. It feels like that whole segment, obviously when you first started playing the game and you've got your tutorials, that's what it seems like to me. The missions seem like a tutorial again, and it just feels like click left, click left, click left. Right, you've done the tutorials. I wouldn't even call them missions. I wouldn't
even call them challenges.
Yeah, that's not even a challenge.
I mean, half them were sync shot, like nine enemies, and if you use teammates all the time, I mean, I play with them all the time. That's all I ever use them for. Sync shot these guys, sync shot that guy. So, basically nothing changed. I expected at least, I was expecting some type of actual proper mission sets where you would have to make them utilize their special skills as opposed to them just doing it.
And why weren't their special skills being able? Why weren't they utilise the fact that you choose when they use them? I mean, has anybody? So we've all played the AI teammate update. Has anybody not seen? Has anyone used them and not seen one of their AI teammates use their special skill yet? Like in
Only
terms
saw
of
Fury. Only saw Fury. No one else.
Vasily,
No.
I've not saw Vasily's piercing shot yet. I've had Fury's
seen it.
scan, and I've had the drone.
But do you find that she doesn't use her scan when you would like her to use it though? Then this is the problem, isn't it? Like you should be able to decide, okay, I'm approaching this base, right, I want you guys to move up while I sit back out of sight, and this is where I want you to scan, and then she won't scan. But that's when you need her to.
Me personally, every time I've had her scan, it's always when I've been just scanning into a base, or I'm already in a contact as such. Like there's a bit of lull in the fighting, and she'll scan. So I've found it probably quite helpful. I think if you were playing immersive, so if you're playing an immersive and you've got no HUD, I think that actually becomes quite handy because it only lasts for a short time. I'm not a massive fan of the drone though. I didn't think that adds a lot to the game.
No, I must admit the drone's probably my least favourite. Piercing shot, sometimes you're not even sure whether he's even used it or not.
Yeah, but see,
was that piercing shot, or was it just him taking a shot?
It's the issue with piercing shot I've come across is I'd be trying to maintain stealth, and then all of a sudden a round out of his rifle kills an enemy, and they basically explode, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, base is up and alerted. It's like, well, thanks, Vasily. You done fucked us.
Well, see, here's another thing on that level is it's when you do the sync shot, you go A, B, and C. Well, who's A, who's B, and who's C? And you can't even pick who you want to shoot what either.
Yeah.
That's very true. That doesn't come up very often, actually. Do you know what? I remember having a conversation with someone about that ages ago. But yeah, that's the first time I've heard that for a while. But that is true. You should be able to choose them. What about? Has anyone seen any improvements in terms of the sync shot, piercing through rocks and buildings? And do you think they've improved that? I mean, I think it has been improved slightly. But then again, I could just be lucky that I haven't been in the scenarios enough so far since I've been playing with them to notice it. Like where you've got you pick your three enemies, they're moving around, one goes behind a building and magically that person still gets shot in the head, even though they had a fucking great big building in the way of them. Has anyone noticed that that's improved or not?
They still have that issue. They, when they go behind certain, I guess, what they can call multiple walls, they still have the issue of not being able to see/shoot them. But if they're behind just a single wall of a building, yeah, it's done. They're dead.
See, I have to challenge that one, Marcus, because I was at what's the name of the place? Camp Ferret? No, it doesn't. It's some wolf base. It's not shark base, but some wolf base in an old missile silo. I can't think of the name of it. Camp Weasel, I think.
I was going to say you're talking about Kodiak.
But they did a scan, and jokingly, I decided to have a sync shot a couple people inside because I wanted to test it. They basically, I don't know what they shot, what kind of rounds they're using, but they just drilled into the earth magically and shot a dude that's like 5 feet below the ground through probably 24-inch thick concrete and lead, and I was like, how in the hell does that happen? And I guess
I'm not saying
it was just timing.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but just on my level so far, and I just did a couple of them last night over at I think Liberty Airport, where they were on the backside of a couple of the hangars and they easily shot them. But then same location, I had 2 of them in almost the same set of distance, behind the hangars, and they said we don't have a shot.
And
I think they should do it. Sorry, Dusty. I think they should do it with Vasily. I think this should be a perk where you can pick one enemy that is hidden somewhere, and you can use especially Vasily to pierce through walls with his shot and kill him. And the other two are not capable of doing that. I think this would utilize his piercing shot pretty good.
So, if I may, real quick, I know you called him earlier bullet catcher. I am able to speak a little bit now.
That's cool, man. It's so good. Did you hear about the Vaseline?
I don't know.
I did. I heard that. I was driving. Just to kind of destroy this whole update in terms of the AI. It's gone away from in terms of my opinion, it turned away from, hey, you have AI teammates to work as a team. It's turned more into, hey, here's the tutorial on how to operate it, like, manage a team, learn how to customize and learn how to tell them where to go, and that's it. That's all you're going to get out of it. Like, that's the missions. Like, tell them to regroup. Tell them to engage. Okay, now equip a gun on them. Which, for me, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, I've had two of my AI teammates have 3 firearms. 2 rifles and a bolt action, or 2 rifles and a light machine gun. It's
that's insane.
I posted the photos in one of the channels here. But I've had that happen twice in different game saves.
Yeah,
so,
it's been seen. It's been seen.
Is it on
does
Xbox?
exist.
Yeah, on Xbox.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know about PS4 or PlayStation or PC, but it's a pain on Xbox. But yeah, it's just kind of how I see it. It's like it's turned into more of a tutorial on how to manage a squad, but not really manage it because it's not realistic.
Well, this is one of the things that we were talking about, that they've given you these abilities that you can't decide when you're going to use them. Why? I think in an AI teammate update, the thing that needed to be in there more than anything was more commands and be able to use them individually. So you turn around and say, I want you there, and you there. And that, going back to that statement that they said about, don't worry, you won't have to micromanage them. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but it is an important thing because it's like, well, hang on. That's what the whole community wanted. Like, how did that get missed? Where's that communication fallen down? It's not like people haven't been talking about it. That's what you people want. If you're one of these people who doesn't get a chance to jump on with friends very often, AI teammates can be really important for you. You want your AI teammates. You want them to work well. If you're overlooking a base, you want your sniper at a higher position somewhere, an elevated position. You might want, one going in with a heavy machine gun to clear up afterwards. You should be able to say where you want them, and you can't.
I think once again, Ubisoft they've half heard what we've asked for. So we asked to be able to use AI teammates individually, give them individual orders. And what they gave us was, well, you can turn 2 other teammates off. Now you can give that one individual an order. And you can send him to where you want to go. They've only kind of half answered the question. If that makes sense.
No, I can kind of see me. Well, Jeremy wants to come in here. I can hear his dulcet tones. Go on, Jeremy.
We have to understand that Ubisoft's giving us what they can, not what we want.
Yeah,
I think what we're asking for is beyond their capabilities. I think they're fully aware of what the community wanted, and they weren't able to do it. So they did these alternatives and said, "Well, here's your cake, enjoy it," but the cake's made out of shit.
Okay, so let's, Jeremy. Right, so while you're talking, this is something that I want to ask you about the update. We've talked about some of the challenges. We don't like them. They were pretty naff, if we're entirely honest, and what they're not doing very well, to be honest. What about let's go back to cosmetics, because obviously, as we said earlier, they did give us a load of cosmetics that we wanted, but they locked a lot of them behind a paywall. And for example, I believe a lot of the weapons were just reskins. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So I'm intrigued to hear people's opinions on about how they feel like we're finally giving you things you want, but you have to pay for them. Jeremy, just quickly before we get deeper into this, have you used any of the new weapons? What do you think of them, being our weapons guru?
I use any of the new weapons, and what did I think of them? Well, it's mixed. I too like the Desert Eagle. That suppressant has the red dot. I like it. I think it's a fun gun. I think it's very useful. It's very powerful. The fact that they took the one thing that I wanted out of this whole update, which is Mark 18, and they nerfed it so badly. That was the one thing I was looking forward to, and I gotta tell you, it brought this update down to a zero sum for me. This update does absolutely nothing for me.
Really?
With Mark 18, yeah.
Yeah, the Mark 18 is garbage.
Everyone wanted the mod 1, and it isn't, is it? It's just a reskin of a 516, isn't it?
I would have been happy if it was just average, but it's below average. It's not even a 27 damage. It's a 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah, at least they got the caliber right this time.
It feels like an insult. I'm going to tell you, it feels like an insult.
The entire update, or the Mark 18? Sorry.
Well, Mark 18 in particular, but a lot of portions of the update, including the ridiculously stupid challenges. It just feels like an insult.
No, I can see that. I found that before this event came out, there was a lot of kind of positivity, and then when it came out, yes, there was people picking out certain things, going hooray for like ghillie suits and gas masks and things like that. But then it seems to be, as a few days have gone past, there seems to be a few more people now kind of going, was that it? I mean, you can do these challenges in, I'd say you can do these challenges from start to finish in about an hour and a half.
Below an hour.
Yeah,
I did it
below
in
an hour.
30 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
I did mine over the course of the 12 factory missions.
Yeah, automatically without even trying, you can get them all done just playing the game.
Well, I mean, with the exception of the Amber Sky. I know I had to load the Amber Sky world, but the rest of them I got just during the course of my normal factory missions. As a solo player, because either I play solo by myself for my recordings for YouTube, or I play with a team with 3 additional humans for Twitch. Those teammates do nothing, absolutely nothing for me. I don't give a damn about cosmetics. I'm just happy I'm not running around naked. And the one thing,
but come on, if you could buy a skin, if you could go and pay $5 for a skin where your dude was naked, I reckon loads of people would pay for it. I guarantee they'd be like, yeah,
they would.
Oh, yeah,
they would still be wearing the belt, though.
They would still be wearing the belt.
Belt never comes off. Yeah, belt never comes off.
Only the belt.
Yeah.
So the one thing that most of the hardcore players wanted, which is Mark 18, and they completely disappointed on that end. So I don't know. I had a lot of high hopes for this update, because Ghost Recon's been flailing so badly over the past year and a half. Judging by the patch notes and things that were dropping hints on, I had a lot of high hopes on this, and I think that once again it fell flat on its face, and I'm very wary now. I don't.
That's really just.
I don't know where to go.
I would say that's just kind of the general feeling I get after every single update since the start of this game. I mean, they try and hype it up somewhat, very limited. But they come in and they drop these new updates, and we're like, okay, yeah, cool shit. Ghillie suits, gas mask, and helmets. Oh yeah, this is great. And then we start getting into the meat and potatoes of it, and it's like, what the fuck was this?
Well,
Absolutely, this is shit.
Well, see, I have to say one more positive thing about it, about the teammate update. That you can't.
You've had your chance. You're done.
This is just one little thing. It's just one little thing. that you can select the number of teammates. In the case of something like this, you could put Vasily in a Overwatch position, but you have to mark him for him.
Yeah.
But I will come back off of that. Why can't you? A lot of people wanted to be able to add AI teammates to their squad if they were in the game with a friend.
That would be great.
And I think a lot of people were expecting that and thought that was going to be a big part of this update. That's what I'm saying. That people thought that when we heard that it was going to be an AI teammate experience, people started thinking there's going to be more controls instead of just the 4 options. They're going to add more, because if you open up the wheel, I know you've got the quick command at the bottom of the screen, but if you open up the wheel, there are another 4 spaces for other commands. Have you noticed that there's 8 spaces and only 4 commands in them?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think people thought, we're going to get another.
Emotes, aren't they?
Can I say
That's
one thing?
that's
for
the
next
emote
game?
wheel, isn't it?
Can I
It
say
is.
one thing for the next game? Can we just chin off emotes? Like
Do what?
the spaces that emotes are taking up, as you guys were
Emotes.
saying.
Yeah.
Oh, emotes.
I ideally you could be using that for picking your individual. Picking Vasily, for example. Select Vasily. Go to, you know what I mean, and then giving them. That's where your individual commands would have been ideal, and I think that's what we were all hoping for.
To be
Totally
honest, screw emotes. This is a Ghost Recon game, not
Okay,
Fortnite.
Hang on. Hang on now. The emotes, some of the ones in Wildlands were just excessive and Fortnite-ish, and I hate them. The ones in Breakpoint are a little bit better, being, tactical commands. Like one of them is, stick your fist up and say halt, or go, and just a couple of things. So that immersive side of it I like, but my complaint about the emotes is every time I hit one of them, it will pop me up. I could be crouched, I could be prone, but it will immediately stand me up and then do the command. And then I'll be standing up still. So I can't do it stealthily.
You know
Whereas the teammate orders, oh, hey, I could be laying down and raise my damn index finger up in the air and wave it around like I don't care and say, hey, regroup on me.
That's a
It
really
pisses me off.
That's a really good point.
I wouldn't mind if the emotes actually done something as well. So if you're walking along, you give the halt sign, and they actually halted. You know what I mean? So if almost working as a command in some aspect.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind them.
Point. It's a really
Well,
good
I think the hold position command for the AI teammates is, I haven't looked specifically at it, but I think it's the exact same emote as the halt. But again, you can do it in, as far as I know, you can do it in different positions, standing, crouch, prone. Whereas the emote, it literally is just, you have to be standing to do it. So help you God. There's no other way to do
But
it.
once again, it's an idea that maybe has just not been thought through properly. I mean, like as Sandy just said, then why don't you give the command when you use the emote? It does the command that the emote is for. That actually is just complete common sense.
I mean,
It's not been put in there. It's kind of crazy.
I mean,
did anyone buy any new skins?
Well, before we jump
the
off,
Rainbow Six skins or anything.
before we jump into the Rainbow Six, going with the emotes / the command wheel, they got 4 available slots. We got 3 additional teammates. Why not give one of them each a slot, saying, "Hey, Vasily, fire."
Thank you. Here we come.
That'd be perfect.
This is or what?
That's a big brain thought right there.
That's what I wanted to say the whole time. 1 slot for Recon, for Fury, 1 slot for Vasily, and 1 slot for the drone. I'll fix it. At least.
And then you still got you still got that 4th slot for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, that's a really good idea.
One other thing I thought was quite interesting with we've been able to pick the amount of teammates is actually if you replay again now, it gives you an option to do something that we've not been able to do. So when the AI teammates first dropped, everybody thought we were going to get a story mission on how we were going to get them. You know, we thought we would have missions where we'd go and rescue them. Now that you can choose individually, I think you can actually make your own. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think it can.
Totally.
I mean, to be fair, there should have been a mission. Let's just get that out of the way. When they were introduced,
absolutely.
there should have been a mission where they were introduced, because they just literally weren't there one day and were there the next, with no explanation whatsoever. They just popped up out of nowhere. That definitely needed a mission, and I do believe that there should have been more than just challenges. I think they should have utilized the challenges deeper, and maybe I think we needed at least a mission to maybe finally give a little bit of more backstory to these AI teammates as well. You know, because in Wildlands, your AI teammates were your teammates. You talked about what you were doing. They made jokes to each other. Do you know what I mean? They were so much more immersive into the world.
Oh yeah.
These guys are literally just like 3 random things, people just chucked into a rower, and just, oh, there you go. You got 3 teammates.
More like employees than brothers.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, actually. 100%. They don't feel like they are your teammates. Even, I know people are saying that the banter between the teammates has got better, but is it really that much better? It's not.
No,
it's not.
It's horrible.
The biggest problem with all of them is they all lack charisma. There is no charisma at all.
But do you not think that the Breakpoint, all the characters in Breakpoint lack charisma? Nomad's got no charisma at all.
Nobody has charisma.
The enemies, all of the villains, look at all of the villains in the game. I'm sorry, I don't even think that, and John Bernthal, not knocking him whatsoever, he's a really good actor. But even his character, I don't think was particularly... He's probably the most charismatic character in the game, and even his character fell flat.
Yeah.
No, I love the cutscene when he talked to the colonel when he left the ghosts. This was a really good one, and I liked this expression, everything. I don't know if you remember this cutscene where he explained himself for killing the other soldier. That
oh yes, I know the one. Yeah.
And this cutscene where he shows emotions, where he changes his voice, oh my god, this was so good. And in this cutscene alone, he put up more character and more development than everyone else combined in the whole game.
Fully agree.
Absolutely.
The problem with Walker's character was that as a bad guy, you're not meant to sympathise with the bad guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're meant to hate the bad guy, other than him obviously shooting Weaver. Everything else, you're like, with all the cutscenes and the stuff you see him go through, you almost understand why he got to where he is.
Yeah.
Like, you actually can almost sympathise with the fact that he felt screwed over.
Do you not think that is kind of a little bit of a Hollywood trope, though, at the moment, in terms of it, that it's in a lot of media, that you get a villain and it's like, do you know what? We can't have this person just be bad. Like, I've watched numerous shows, and we're not here to talk about shows, but I've watched numerous shows on Netflix recently where they've given you the villain and they've said, here's your bad guy, shown him doing really bad things, and then randomly, halfway through the season, you open up and it's like, oh, this is set. They're showing you something from before where this really terrible thing happens to the bad guy, and you suddenly like, oh, his family were killed, or he's so-and-so.
Now you sympathise for him.
I just described Cobra Kai.
I wasn't actually talking about Cobra Kai. It is a great show, to be fair. But they just dropped the teaser for Terry Silver, didn't they? Today, I believe it was.
So speaking about like giving some backstories to these characters, I remember before Breakpoint released, you had the live action trailers for the game that included John Barenthal, and kind of gave him a backstory of how he went down the path to becoming a wolf and becoming this just crazy guy. And I sympathized with him. You know, he was a leader of a unit, and his men are dying left and right, and the command's tying his hands, and he's in the pits with Nomad at one point, and they're like, "Hey, where's our backup?" And it's not coming, and he's just visibly pissed. Like that to me, I was like, okay, this guy has a lot of depth.
Further. It even goes back further because if you think about his introduction in Wildlands,
that was good.
Yeah.
One of the first things you find is that 2 of his teammates were killed by drones. So it just, it's
Well, look. Let's get back onto what we were talking about. Let's be honest, right? So let's take Walker out. Then I think we've agreed that there's good points to Walker's character, and John Bernthal is a good actor. But let's take all the rest of them. They're boring.
Yeah,
they're look at some of the villains in Wildlands. Some of the girls that were in Wildlands. Some of the villains, they were fun. Some of who's the dude who had the cowboy hat on? He was really good. I can't remember all their names because there were so many of them, but they were really different. They were interesting. Some of them were just. Was it the first 2 that in Itaqua? I mean, they were they ones who were just chopping people up in the basement, and just laughing while they were doing it.
And having freaky sex too.
Yeah, really.
I think they were. Yeah, I think you're right.
You had to go and video them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. But do you see what I mean? Though there was some character, even for smaller enemies. That there was a lot more character kind of pushed into them. And you look at the wolves, for example. There's no character in any of those wolf commanders. They're just nothings. Do you know what I mean? They're
generic
boring.
Enemy.
Yeah, just generic. There's nothing there. They've given them names, but they mean nothing.
What's the story on Flycatcher?
Would many people really know if you put pictures up of all of the enemies and go, right, Flycatcher, Rosebud, this one, would people go, oh yeah, Rosebud? You might go, oh, that mission's good. Because some of the missions are good. But character-wise, who cares about any of them? Like, does it matter about any of them? Do we got any real backstory about any of them? No, nothing. Anyway, once again, we're getting a little bit off topic. But so I want to talk about the Rainbow Six skins. So, do you think they were a good idea or a bad idea? Because one of the things that people have noticed with the Rainbow Six skins is that the detail on the skins is so much more in depth than it is on the normal Breakpoint equivalent skins. Like, for example, I think it's the pack that is it the chest rig that Valkyrie's got on? That exists in game, and it's far more detailed than the one that's already in the game. Multiple people have brought this up with different skins, specific pieces of kit. They do look more detailed, a lot more detailed. And I think they've put characters like Nock in there because they knew that it was a nice, easy way to do like a Danish frogman, and by putting Nock in there. And I'm surprised there was a few other characters like Glaz who wasn't included, that weren't in there. But did anyone buy any? And what do you think about it? Bringing multiple skins in from another game like that, because that's quite a few we've had now. Has anyone got an opinion on it?
I think it's the wrong move. I think I would have much rather seen them bring other characters in, other character skins for the Ghost Recon world.
You would have thought that if they were going to stick Nomad in another game, it would have been Rainbow Six Siege as an operator in that game, and they haven't. Yeah. And that makes you wonder why they use other people's stuff to fill out Breakpoint because it's easy and they don't have to pay anything for it. But they are not prepared to stick Nomad into Rainbow Six Siege, even though he'd actually be a very good fit. It kind of shows where the mentality currently is regards to Ghost Recon. Whereas I think if Wildlands had released, let's say Wildlands had released exactly the Wildlands we know, let's say it released 6 months ago, and we were where we are now, I actually think you could see, they might, and it had sold as well as it did, they might consider it. Whereas Rainbow Six Siege, when Wildlands came out, it was nowhere near as big a game as it is now. It actually had a slow start to begin with. I enjoyed it, but it was slow. Whereas they could definitely put him in. And then I'm going back to Nomad. The Nomad in Wildlands, we've said this before, but the Nomad in Wildlands was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I think the other big difference with adding them into Wildlands, they felt like they could actually be on, in Bolivia. They didn't seem out of place, if that makes sense. Like you could believe that, obviously once you've done the Rainbow Six mission, that maybe other characters would tip up. Whereas even when the Rainbow Six characters appeared in this game, it just seemed like they were just shoehorning them in.
Well, once again, the US military can't get on the island because of the drones, but Sam Fisher's been able to get on it, and Rainbow Six
everyone
has been able to get on it. And everyone
And
else, the guy who lives down the road,
Resident Evil.
there's a guy who lives down the road. His granny's got on there. There's all sorts of everyone can get on it.
Well, I have,
But see, here's
I have heard that some Sentinel guys were talking, and Ed was telling me this the other day. He heard two Sentinel guys talking about a naval blockade around the island, and he had never heard that talk before. So it was kind of interesting.
But see,
that's interesting. A few people have heard a few new lines that they've never heard.
Yeah.
But
I've heard quite a
here's
few new lines, but nothing detailed like that.
Yeah, here's another thing. Here's another thing with the teammates. Why can't we mix them? I would rather use Finka's healing ability versus Fury's scanning ability.
Hmm.
We should have been able to mix them. That's another good point, Marcus. Like, why they've given you these skins? Why can't you, as characters with 6 different separate abilities? Why couldn't you mix and match them? And have, if you wanted Ash and Finka, but you wanted Fury, you should have been able to have those 3 instead of having 3 and not the other 3. And then it makes you wonder, like, story wise and stuff. Well, while you're using 3, where are the other 3? Where have they gone? They've left at that point. But it would have made more sense. But someone before this, we were discussing about the rumor about future updates and stuff, and would we get 6-man teams? I mean, that would be awkward then, because how would you fill out your AI teammates then? Would you have 5 of the 6?
Hold
That
the
would seem-
Midas.
See, that would be that's who everyone wants. Why did they not add the whole Midas and Weaver skins in? To me,
Personally, I wanted Blackbeard.
loads of people wanted Blackbeard from Siege. That's the thing. There were Siege characters that were wanted a lot more, like Tachanka, and people like loads of people have been saying that they would have bought Tachanka. I think Nock was a really good. Like they did. I think they'll make quite a lot of money
Really
from.
good skin. Yeah.
It's a great skin.
I still want to know if they've ever got a backstory for Hobbs and McKean.
Sorry, say that again. It crossed over a bit there.
Sorry, I still want to know if there's going to be any more backstory on Hobbs and McKean.
I doubt it.
Other than meeting them right at the start, so the only 2 other ghosts that definitely survived and were fit to fight, and then they just disappeared.
Has anyone heard the Sentinel soldiers talking about the quick reaction force?
I have.
No.
Previously or recently?
I'd say recent.
Yeah, because that's another new one that people are saying that they've never heard before, and they're saying that send for the quick reaction force, or the quick reaction force is based at this location. We need to call them. And it's like, that's interesting.
I did notice too that I guess it's kind of a positive, but the AI teammates now, instead of saying like a rocket gunner, they will say a Moz gunner, which would be actually kind of correct for the rocket they use, sort of. But
that's good.
There's that change.
That's good. So overall, then, most people's opinions are that it sounds like it. We've come up with some good ideas that would have been good, which we didn't get. Most people think disappointing overall. Like, would you ever need to do those challenges ever again? No, you wouldn't once you've done them. Yes, there was a few nice cosmetics in there, 100%. I did some good ones. But a lot of them locked behind a paywall, and Sandylands ended up spending £30, and maybe Ubisoft were hoping that everyone would have spent that, and then they would have made a shit ton of money. Which, to be fair, I don't mind buying things if they make some really good stuff. I mean, to be fair, if once a month they dropped 10 new pieces of gear and were putting in gear that people were requesting, I'd buy them. I wouldn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, but don't mind. But don't go over like either $2 or £2 or something like that. If you're dropping every month.
Oh, I don't think $2 would cover this, but
yeah, but you got
$2 would be fine.
But if you got 100,000 people buying $2, that's quite a bit of chunk of change. Then
problem is you don't have 100,000 people.
Well,
they said that 1.6 million people played the Amber Sky update.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But then it did have a free weekend. But then the AI teammates had a free weekend as well, didn't it?
They had a free weekend that was divided across 4 different platforms. That is not a good number. I would have never brought that number up.
But they had a good blueprint. They had a good blueprint with Amber Sky. Why switching back to just skins, waiting for months for a new update, and then bringing just skins and 1 or 2 AI commands and abilities that no one can trigger? Why do that? They had Amber Sky, and Amber Sky was a great update, and most of the players loved it. Why not bring something like this?
Do you know what? I think Amber Sky and Red Patriot, I thought there was some really, really good missions in Red Patriot.
Just wish they were longer.
It's really, really good. The missions felt different to what we've had previously as well. Yeah, I personally, so far, that's my favourite. But I did enjoy Amber Sky as well. But I still think Red Patriot, hands down, is the best DLC that we've had. But, I mean, moving forward, obviously, they have turned around and said that we are getting replayability. So maybe they think for the replayability, they had to go and add more things in for AI teammates. But they missed the mark on this one. And I think the more people are now the hype's died down with the trailers and things like that. I think more and more people are like, disappointed. I mean, there's loads of people that are disappointed with the Mark 18. When we did our video review, we had a lot of comments on that video, and loads of people. There was a few people go, really enjoy this gun, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. If you enjoy it, that's awesome. That's cool. And the fact that you didn't have to, you could just buy it with your normal your normal credits out of Maria's shop. But there's guns that people have spent real world money on, and they're naff. They're just not very good.
The problem with Mark 18 is it has a legacy. It's not like a whole new gun. There was an expectation there, and they didn't even meet it.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I mean, when I reviewed it, I said I put it in and around number 10 on my assault rifles list. And I was expecting a lot more. I thought this was going to be a gun that I thought, you know what, I need to be using this. And as soon as I switched back I actually switched back in 2 lots of gameplays that day, one to the Coblin and one to the 416. I was like, I don't know if I need to go back to the Mark 18 again now. It just...
You remember what you asked me a couple of days ago? You asked me if the MK18, is it possible that it will replace the M4A1 or the 4AC in the raid? Did you remember that? You asked me that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, absolutely not. This is garbage. I tried it out in the raid. This weapon is garbage.
The damage is so low on it. It makes no... Why would they make the damage so low? That has annoyed a lot of people, how low
you
the
need
damage...
10 body shots. In the raid, you need 10 body shots to kill a wolf. 10.
Jesus.
Yeah, that barrel is at least as long as the one on the 416 with the short barrel equipped. And it uses the same caliber. There's no damn reason that gun should be so much less powerful than the 416.
This is horrible, man. I mean, the wolves in the raid are pretty tough, and they are different than the normal wolves in the normal game. But the 4AC, the M4A1 or whatever gun, you have 3 shots, max 4 if you hit him in the arm or in the leg, and he's down. And you need with the MK18, you need at least 10 shots, body shots to kill him.
Yep.
And this is horrible.
It's pathetic. I mean, it literally pisses me off.
Did anyone use the MSR? Has anyone tried that? I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it was okay.
Middle of the road.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst. I mean, I've had a few people that have said this is the worst sniper rifle in the game, and I said, you're forgetting about the Paladin 9.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's Paladin.
Like, you must have forgotten about the Paladin. A Paladin 9 is on another planet with regards to the rest of them. The Paladin 9 is so shit that it's just embarrassing. It's literally... Actually, if you're listening to this and you use the Paladin 9, please comment and tell us what you like about it, because it is just shit. It is awful. Does anyone ever use it just for fun to see how shit it is? I mean, we did a test on that, and most sniper rifles, you've got the really good ones, and then you've got loads that are kind of in the middle somewhere, and most of the middle ones were taking X number of rounds, but not that many to destroy a helicopter, one of the smaller helicopters. And the Paladin 9 was about 5 times the amount. It's just crazy.
I mean, I don't know why you would use another... Okay, there is some benefits to other sniper rifles. But if you want the perfect package, M82 Cerberus. And the problem is, everything that comes now, it's been measured by this. They want the firepower of the M82 Cerberus. They want the accuracy of the TAC 50. They want the range of whatever. And when you bring something mediocre, the Zastava. And when you bring a sniper rifle that is high praised in wildlands, and you nerf it down so much like the MSR, of course the people don't want this weapon, because you have the M82 Cerberus that can kill a car with, if you're lucky, with 1 shot, but max 2 shots, a chopper with 2 shots, and basically everything else is a 1-shot kill. So why would I use the MSR?
I saw a video of someone killing a behemoth with 2 shots.
Yeah, it's totally possible. Easy.
Not with the Paladin 9.
No, definitely not with the Paladin.
With a Cerberus.
There you go, Havoc. I've just given you your next video to do. How many shots does it take to destroy a behemoth using the Paladin 9 only?
Oh my god!
I don't think he has enough bullets for that.
And when we see his video, it's 3 hours 50 minutes long.
Yeah, I need to refill ammo.
How many deaths are going to be there?
Yeah. But I mean, look, why have they not gone and fixed it? Because there's obviously something wrong with it. There's no way when they were making that gun, they were like, I tell you what, the max that it takes to destroy a helicopter with the last second worst rifle is 8. Let's make this one 29.
Gee.
You know, there was obviously something went wrong somewhere, and it's just got missed and just, I don't know, still not been fixed, looked at, whatever. But I mean, Tyrant Slayer, Jeremy, will, you know, I know that you've got lots of obviously issues. We've discussed these at length before.
Does it still kill a Sentinel with a headshot?
A Paladin 9? Yeah, you can still, you can still headshot, but
I don't got a helmet, probably not.
No, see, that's the thing. I think that you laugh about that, but I actually think when Lee did his testing on it, Bacon Soldier, I think he did shoot a wolf in the head, and the helmet came off, and he didn't die. He just ran off. And we joke about it, but I am absolutely sure that is on that video. That it was that bad. That's how bad that weapon.
What is the Paladin for a caliber? Is this a 338? 308?
I can't remember. You know,
I'll just check.
I think it's 308.
308. It should be at least 308. I think.
Yeah,
I'll just check.
With a 308 bullet, you rip his head off normally.
No, not with that one. It's not even firing BBs.
I mean, in real life,
the Paladin
is you rip your head off.
The Paladin is a 338.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
And that's the survival one. Now the regular, yep, it's a 338. Both versions, the survival and the regular.
Wow,
man.
Do you know what? I've just decided
no
I
idea
am.
what they're doing.
I am going to make a video, and it is going to be called "Why is the Paladin 9 so shit?" I've decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to test it on.
Watch.
I want to see how many shots it even takes to kill a wild boar. It's probably going to be about 15.
You're gonna win an Emmy.
Yeah. It'd be the best video no one watches ever.
I
why?
think many will watch it. That's
the one you'll probably get 10,000 views in the first day.
Exactly. You go viral.
And throw the MK18 inside too.
Yeah. Or either that, I just do. They fix the Paladin 9 and make the video 5 seconds long and just go, oh, no, they didn't. At the end.
just your guy just dropping on the ground and picking something up.
I'd really genuinely love to know if people use it, though. Like,
I used it when it first came out just to see what it was about. Because I love sniper rifles. But
you did it, but at that point, when you first start using it, it takes a little while, doesn't it, to really realize how shit it is. Like
I knew right away. Yeah, I knew right away because it curved. Like I'd be aiming at a target, and the fucking bullet would fly right. I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is really fucking bad.
I mean, someone missed with your scope.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now as far as a comparison to the Goblin, and the accuracy of the Goblin is better than the Paladin.
No.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at it right now.
What are the statistics? No way. How did they mess? Are they
both the same mark level? Are they both Mark 3s? Or?
Yep, they're both Mark 3s.
Oof, that's rough.
What damage is the Paladin 9?
Damage
125.
Yeah, I got
132.
I got 132.
132. What? It takes 29 shots to destroy a helicopter.
Wow, that's rough.
I mean,
this is broken. That's broken.
They don't know what they're doing.
I mean, it's a stealth weapon, so the suppressor takes 99% of the damage away.
Havoc's trying to get a job at Ubisoft. Oh yeah, it's a stealth weapon. It's legit. Yeah. They made it like that.
I think Vasily's. I think what's his name? The guy in the movie Enemy at the Gates.
Vaseline? Is that right?
Vasily? I think his rifle is better than the
Paladin. Vaseline.
I think his rifle's better than the Paladin.
Yeah, the old one.
Marcus, if only you'd thought of that one earlier. Enemy at the Gates, Vaseline. You could have just got that one in there.
We weren't talking sniper rifles.
Very true. Very true. Anyway, we have gone off topic again. Well, before we kind of wind this down, it's been good. I think we've covered as much as we probably can cover. Anyone else got any last things, little bits that maybe we haven't mentioned, or things like that, little bits that they've noticed in the update, for example, that maybe weren't there before, or not something with the menus or anything? Anyone got any, just like good or bad?
I have a question. With the M41 survival, if you have a code, you got the weapon obviously, but you mentioned something like you can obtain it in the shop. In what shop? In Maria's shop, or you can get it in Ubisoft?
No, Ubisoft are adding it. Depending on what day we release this podcast, it may already be available by the time you hear this, or if it gets up before that, then it's not out yet. It's out the 2nd of June in the shop, and it's going to be put in a small bundle, I believe. I don't know if they have said what is in that bundle as yet, but like I said, maybe it's already out by the time you watch this.
So you have to pay real money for it to get the M41 survival and the hood.
Yes, well, the hood's already available, isn't it? Though, isn't the hood already available in a?
I don't know.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, you'd think I should know this stuff, but I'm very tired.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning for you.
It will be available. Anyone else got any things that they just want to mention about the update? Anything that they haven't got off their chest?
Yeah, I'll bring 2 to the table. So going back to the MSR, I think the one thing I like about the gun, I personally like its accuracy, its bolt speed. for reloading a shot is, to me, perfect. But the one thing I really like about it is the level of customization I can get. Because all the other sniper rifles really, I think all you could change is like practically a scope and a muzzle. Except for like the Scorpio, you might be able to change mag size and
Bipod
barrel. Yeah. So having that level of customization was nice. Being able to throw on a rangefinder, which, I mean, if we could have that level of customization on every sniper rifle in the game, that'd be awesome, because I'd have an M82 with, bipod and a rangefinder and be completely set.
Yeah.
And then two, I know this was brought up in your Discord, Andy, but with the SWAT shirt, I know a lot of former military guys are bringing up the fact that the flag patch, the USA flag patch for it, was actually on the wrong side. Typically it goes on the right. And on that topic as well, we've got the capability of having two patches on our left sleeve, but then all of a sudden we have the exact same kind of system on the right sleeve, but no patches, no nothing, just bare. So I think that's something that they could definitely work on and improve, because, you look at the Cry G4 shirt and there's a patch on both sleeves.
Does anyone notice that they renamed some stuff as well, and some of the bits look like they'd even had very minor changes made to them?
I thought I saw that, but I wasn't quite sure, because
Yeah.
I'm not big into the outfits.
Yeah, I did notice that some of the names have changed on outfits.
I need to ask Jeremy a really quick question. So I just want Jeremy, can you sum up this update? Because like the whole time, Jeremy's normally, whenever I talk to Jeremy, he's normally really chilled out and he's really just a cool dude to talk to. And like every time we talk about this, you just sound really annoyed about it. So sum it up in 2 words what you think of this update.
Highly disappointing.
There were things about it that I personally enjoyed. Like I'm glad some of the cosmetics are in there. I quite like some of the Rainbow Six skins, but I do like cosmetics. So cosmetics don't mean much to some people, and they do to others. So I didn't mind it, but it's just there's nothing new to play or to really do, and I think that's one of the things I'm disappointed with the most. Yeah. There's nothing kind of like you said. Like Marcus or Jeremy, one of the two, I can't remember who said it. Actually, it was you, Jeremy. You said you played 12 faction missions. You didn't do the actual AI teammate challenges as in, right, number 4 is this. I'm off to do number 4. You literally just played 12 faction missions, and at the end of them, you'd done them all.
Correct.
I mean, some people might say, oh, well, that's a good thing that you can get these challenges done just playing the game as you want to. But I also think there'd be a lot of other people who would go, but I didn't want that. The challenges should have been more. They should have been more in depth.
Challenging.
You have to go here. Yeah, challenging. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That you should have had to have gone there, done this, maybe in a time limit. Or I'm not that I'm a big fan of time limits, but it should have just been more to it. It was just too easy. Like you were saying, people have done it in 50 minutes.
Those challenges should be designed to make you become proficient using the tools that you have, not just go, here's the tool you have and let me show it to you once you achieve this little thing.
Look at Wildlands' teammate experience. You had to work for that.
Yeah.
In terms of like leveling up the skills and things like that, you mean?
You had to go do 10, 15 side missions of almost each just to get a full level up squad. I mean, you had to go work for it. They gave you what you had. They even said you had to go get X amount of food, X amount of oil, X amount of this to build up just for that next check mark on the teammate experience.
Yeah, and that made you kept going after convoys. Like I remember spending sometimes days just literally hitting convoy after convoy after convoy. And not even touching main missions, not side missions or anything like that, just hitting those convoys over and over again to keep leveling up the food supplies and things like that. That's what's really lacking, I think, in Breakpoint. There are no side things. Yes, the faction missions reset, but I think we've talked about faction missions enough that they need an overhaul. They're not going to get an overhaul, but they needed one. That's where the new cosmetics should have been put in new faction missions. That's what they should have kept from the start.
I mean, if they did
convoys,
if they did,
and the convoys are terrible in Breakpoint.
Yeah, they are so good in Wildlands, and no one cares about the convoys in Breakpoint.
But if you notice, when you were in Wildlands, you could see the convoy coming. Even if you weren't looking for one, you might have been doing something else, and you see the convoy coming, like, oh, convoy, and there might be like 2 Humvees, a helicopter, and a support vehicle, and you're like, okay, here we go. And it was a challenge. And on this one, you can drive past you, and you're like, oh, whatever, and you're looking at something else, and you have to double take and go, oh, that was a convoy. Yeah, like you didn't even know that it was a convoy because it's so few vehicles.
And there's one more thing with the AI teammates. In Wildlands, you can shoot sync shots. What's realistic, especially with sniper rifles. So with the AI teammates, you can shoot way over 200 meters, 300 meters, or whatever. And in Breakpoint, it's really kept to 200 meters. So whatever weapon you have, let's say Vasily has a TAC 50 or whatever. He should be able to shoot over 200 meters, a sync shot, but he can't. And in Wildlands, you can. You can easily shoot 300, 400 meters.
Nice one for bringing that up, because that's something that I meant to bring up earlier, that it had been capped to 200, and I completely forgot about it. So well done. Yeah, that's crazy that it has been locked to 200 meters.
I mean, if they're going to update the faction missions or the dailies on a daily basis, Wildlands had so many side missions that you could have just played the side missions and never touched the main game.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, some of those side missions were so much fun. I loved like booting the doors in on the building and getting up and quickly having to turn the computer off in the time limit, things like that. I liked the defend the radios. Some of those were really challenging. If you had it on the hardest setting, some of those were really challenging.
Yep.
You know, and you had to make sure that I'd normally put some mines down, stuff like that.
You had to think.
Predator.
Me and Rob, we did. Was it Rob? I think it was Rob last night. We had one where we had to defend a location for 2 minutes and nothing came.
Yep. All the time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or they'll come 30 seconds after the clock has expired.
They never. They never showed up last night when we played that mission. They never showed up. We had to go and hack a PC, sit there for 2 minutes for nothing to come. We left, and then nothing.
It's at least once a week for my team.
I've got a really good comparison. Okay, so I've played Wildlands and Breakpoint last week, and I played one, or I think it was on Tuesday, the other one on Wednesday. And I had 2 very similar experiences in both games with totally different outcomes. So I was standing on top of a hill in Wildlands. I'd only just spawned in when I turned the game on. And I started walking down the hill, and there was 2 Unidad guys just standing near a motorbike. So I shot one, and as I went to shoot the other one, he just ducked down behind this little wall. And within a minute or so, another car turned up. I blew that car up, and here we went down the Unidad route. But I got to level 4. There were like 3, 4 helicopters chasing me down. At one point, I was like, okay, I need to run away for a bit here and sit and duck and get some cover. And I was running out of ammo, and I was like, shit, this has all gone to shit. I'd only just come into the game, and it all just gone to shit. Exactly the same in Breakpoint. Walked down, I saw a patrol of wolves, 3 wolves. I killed the first one, turned around, killed the second one. The third one ducked behind a tree before I got to shoot him. Pretty similar to what I'd had in Wildlands. And so I just stood there waiting. And I thought, okay, I'll just wait for him to pop his head out. He ran backwards to the tree behind him. And he actually started running away from me and going up the hill. And that was it. So I just let him go. I actually was just like, well, what's he going to do? Is he going to try and flank me? No, he just disappeared. It just went off up the hill. It didn't come after me. No one else turns up. Nothing. It's such a totally different experience. Why are they not sending in? Why is he not calling in helicopters to your position? Why is he not calling in other vehicles to turn up with more people in it? Why is this not happening? And it's where I really enjoy Breakpoint. I like it. I think it's a good game. But when you then you stop playing Breakpoint for a bit and you go, I'm going to put Wildlands back on. You jump back into Wildlands, you're like, Jesus, this game is so much better.
It is.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's just a kind of light and day in almost every aspect. And there are things that Breakpoint does a little bit better here and there. But overall, Wildlands is far superior. Does anyone else want to add anything, good or bad, into the update before we finish?
I just
Personal
wanted to
opinion.
say.
Oh, you go first.
Go ahead. Okay. I just wanted to say that, I've always been very pessimistic about the updates, just given the Ghost Recon history, and having read the patch notes and things for this past one. For the first time ever, I actually came out and said, hey, I actually think this is going to be, something good. And then again, just disappointed again. I'm just want to tell people, get your Vaseline ready, because I don't think this next update is going to be any better on your butt either.
Yeah. Personal opinion, the update was alright, but I think this would have worked better as part of a bigger update. If the AI teammates if the AI teammate experiences came as part of an overall bigger update.
Like they'd added some missions as well, like they'd given you. So let's say when they introduced Amber Sky, they'd also given you this AI teammate update. I think that would have worked a lot better, and a lot of people would have been happier with that.
Yeah,
because it's like, here's what they can do, and now go and try them out in some new missions you haven't played before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or even still have a story of going to find them, individually. Okay, hey, I want to go get Fury first instead of Vasily. Or Finka, go find them individually, and then have them join the team.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, there we have it. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the update. Did you enjoy it? What did you not enjoy it? Did you like the weapons? Are you okay with the monetization? Do you want to see more monetization as long as they give you the stuff that you've been asking for cosmetics wise? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. That's it. Thank you to Havoc and Dusty and Sandylands and Jeremy and of course Marcus. Marcus, take us out, please.
This has been a Bullet Catcher Gaming Podcast. Join us next time for another exciting episode. Join us on our Discord page where the info is in the description. Comment, like, and subscribe. Signing off.